Am I not connected to you?
Your mic's on, but you can use your phone for your camera.
Oh, I guess it'll just look awful.
It's gonna look awful.
We're struggling today.
I got stuck at work a little longer than planned, but I am here. Justin's going to be joining in on camera. You can hear him at the moment.
Hello.
We do have a short time. We have an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, so we can do this if we're going to be on time.
I don't think we're going to be that long.
I don't think so either. There's not a lot to talk about, but the first 2 episodes, but we do have things to talk about of it. Pros and cons, at least on my side. Justin shot me as soon as he finished watching them.
Oh my God.
He was stoked. He was.
I'm over the moon right now, George.
I know. I saw your post. I'm not quite as hyped as he is about it. However, I'm going to throw this right here at the beginning of it. This is a Disney Plus show I actually would recommend to others, which is
a lot from George.
A lot. There's not many shows on Disney Plus that I don't even think he would recommend.
I recommend based off of person's interests.
I based on quality.
Yeah.
Like the Acolyte. The Acolyte I won't recommend to anybody. No offense to the Acolyte, but it was not very good. But how are you doing over there?
I'm logging in
because I'm stalling.
I know.
Well, you can start while you're logging in. Do you want to do the recap of the 2 episodes or recap of episode 1? Let's go 1 episode at a time, then we'll do the overall.
So, kicks off. Peter waking up, goes to school, and Doctor Strange fights a symbiote alien. Why can't I join? Enter studio. Okay. Oh my God. Fights a symbiote alien. And it comes out of a portal, and that portal is the portal that our spider comes out of and bites Peter. And then we skip, 4 months? 5 months? Somewhere around there.
I don't think it says.
It does.
Oh, well,
It does because that's when the prequel comic takes place, is in that 4 or 5 month gap.
Gotcha. Because see, I must have missed that part when, I mean, again, I was watching but not able to watch directly, but I watched enough to have an opinion.
Okay. Go on.
Good. I mean, that there's not much that really happens in the first episode. There's just a lot of setup for how the series is going to go.
Yeah.
It is needed. It is a needed episode. However, mute your phone.
I did it. Did I fix it? Okay.
Yeah.
That looks awful.
However, there are problems still with the first episode, in my opinion. So, when looking at the first episode, there are some scenes that the animation and fluidity of the animation work really, really well. And there's some scenes it works really poorly. And for example, one of the scenes is straightforward, in my opinion. When Peter Parker goes to hug Aunt May, and it really feels like I was watching a buffering screen of them trying to move. Normally, if you're going to do that close of movement in animation, you add extra cells in there just to help smooth it a little bit. And it almost feels like, for whatever reason, they cut cells out of that section, which is odd. That is one of my complaints.
I can see that. I think that's valid.
Another complaint, there are certain shots where it feels like Peter is moving faster than the rest of the world. And again, that goes back to some of the background stuff.
Is that specifically the swinging compilations?
It's a couple of them.
Because
wonky.
I feel that too, but I think that's just the choice of the art style.
Yes, but at the same time, it's still
a negative thing. Yeah,
it's still a negative thing. Like again, I'm going to be honest. A lot of this is going to be nitpicking.
A lot of it is nitpicking because
the show is good.
There isn't a lot of negative to talk about.
Yeah, I will say his chase for our I think this version of Mary Jane, he shouldn't be chasing the babysitter.
Yeah, it's weird.
He's got the goth girl right there. He shouldn't be chasing the
She's
babysitter. I figured that out later on
in
the episode. But
as much as I would want it, it won't happen. Let's see what else.
I think the introduction of his spider powers weak
because they want you to read the comics.
Well, no, but what I mean by that is, in most of the other versions, at least the versions I've ever read of Spider-Man or watched of Spider-Man, usually the spider has something to do with a lab or something he's working on.
That's what you mean.
Instead of this one, it's just he fell through a portal, landed on Peter's neck and bit him.
Yeah.
It's a very weak premise for how he gets the ability.
I'm curious, since we now know that there are going to be multiple seasons, if we're going to explore that later on. I mean, and that's why it's left ambiguous now.
We might, but that was just one of those things that to me, the first episode, yeah, they're trying to still get you fast into it. It's an origin episode. It is establishing this universe, Peter.
Yeah.
And to me, that was kind of a weak part. And then full on X-Name, but not X-Name Uncle Ben was kind of a weak part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with that.
In every version that we get of Uncle Ben, of course, we don't always have Uncle Ben. In every version we get of Uncle Ben, he's the one who establishes Peter on the very much right path. And, the with great power comes great responsibility line. It's such an impactful scene, and it's really what drives Peter Parker to be the best person he can be. And in this case, it's just thanks May for being there when Ben passed. We don't know why he passed. I don't know how he passed.
Yeah.
He passed. And thank you for being there and supporting me, which is good. Support your children or the kids you are watching. However, to me, that was weak. That didn't help it too much.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's really all
that's really it.
In episode 1. Episode 1, again, it's a very light episode, but it's a very needed episode. Those are just the nitpicks of it. Anything to add or
to add on and kind of I guess add on. You can feel how much this was supposed to initially be the MCU prequel show still in its DNA.
Yeah.
Because it, for all intents and purposes, is just a branch off the MCU. Where's the branch? We don't know. But it is a branch off the MCU because they are hearkening back to a lot of Civil War in these first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Is the van and the bus, is that in the first episode or is that in the second episode?
What do you mean?
Where he stops the van from hitting the bus.
That is, I want to say that's the first.
I think so.
I want to say it's the first. I think because the big action that happens in the first, spoiler warning if we haven't already spoiled things, which we have.
Yeah. But if you've seen any of the marketing, you would know this.
The 2 big things is the fight with the 3 guys.
Yes.
And I believe it's the van.
Okay.
I think that's the main action that happens.
Yeah.
There
isn't a lot in this one. No. There is a next episode. We're going to get a villain of the week type show, and I'm A-okay with that.
It is exactly what it looks like.
I'm A-okay with that. But specifically the way that he stops the van from hitting the bus is exactly what happens in Civil War. You just see a clip of it from a YouTube video.
Yeah.
But it's exactly how it happens in Civil War. And the finale of episode 1 is a 1-for-1 recreation of Peter's introduction in Civil War. Except instead of Tony Stark, it's Norman Osborn. It is a 1-for-1 reconstruction.
Yeah.
I'll show you the clip later.
Which was interesting of how we brought Norman into it. It's a totally different way of bringing Norman into it, but
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it. It didn't bug me.
It's unique enough to keep me interested and not, it's this again. But it's it's familiar enough that I'm like, I'm comfy with this, you know? Because it reminds me a lot of like Insomniac Spider-Man, how he mentors under Otto Octavius.
Okay.
It reminds me a lot of that. And that was really good.
Yeah.
So when we get Goblin, it's gonna go insane. So I'm excited for it.
Do we get Goblin this season?
Not this season. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think this season.
Well, I'm gonna pass it back to you.
Back to me. What's going on?
Episode 2.
Episode 2 is like our introduction to form. I don't remember how it starts. Oh yeah, Peter Parker things. That's another thing this show gets great is Peter Parker. Because he gets paired up with Lonnie, and then it's like half and half. It's 50% Spider-Man, 50% Peter Parker.
They do spend a good chunk of time with Peter. I can't evaluate Peter yet. From what we have, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
But I can't evaluate Peter.
Okay, but comparatively to other Spider-Man animated shows?
I mean, comparatively to other Spider-Man, then to me, in my opinion, Tom Holland, Peter Parker is not a very good Peter Parker.
We don't get a lot of it.
Well, we don't, but that might be more for the benefit is kind of where I'm leaning on that.
I get what you're saying. But
I mean, Tobey Maguire is still the best Peter Parker.
Sure. But you see a lot of the struggle of him juggling Peter Parker and Spider-Man in the second episode. Like that's the whole Peter Parker plot.
No, yeah.
It's that he has too much on his plate, but Spider-Man calls, so he just does Spider-Man things. He starts his internship at Oscorp.
Yep.
And has to leave in the middle of it to do a Spider-Man thing where he fights what was his name? He's unnamed in the show, but he has a subtitle and a credit name.
Yeah, it's Pyro.
No.
I'm pretty sure it's
It
Pyro.
starts with a B, I think.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Pyro.
Look it up.
Because I went ahead and I was watching it through Disney Plus.
I don't think it's Pyro.
And I had subtitles.
Pyro wouldn't make sense because Pyro would be the mutant. But anyways, it's a guy with flamethrowers on his wrists, and he's hired to burn down a specific apartment complex. Yada yada yada. Jargon. Spider-Man fight ensues. Peter's still getting hang of his spider powers and kicks him a little too hard out of the building and into a pet shop. And I love this fight, George. I love the pet shop fight so much because this is just a guy roid raging with flamethrowers in a pet shop full of live pets. And Peter's just running around saving the pets from the fire while he's still fighting the guy. And I think that's so funny.
Keep going.
You're almost there. I see it. But he ends up defeating him by pulling a fish tank over his head. Which
Butane.
Sorry. Butane. Which is an awesome fire villain name. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
His design's pretty cool too. It's like very garage workshop-ish, which is like what it should feel like, in my opinion. Where was I? Oh yeah, he pulls a fish tank over his head, puts out his fire, and knocks him out. And then Peter starts freaking out because he doesn't want to be a fish murderer because there were fish in the fish tank, so he starts running around picking up the fish, which I think is funny. Are we back?
Should I try one? Well, you barely.
Don't try.
I was trying to pull up at least a couple of scenes of that fight, but yeah, no, apparently not.
Yeah.
Your problems with this episode?
With the second episode? Not a lot.
Well, but that means there's something.
None, actually.
None
for the second episode. You see how hard he's trying to find one?
Yeah, well, because I'm trying to be actually critical of it, but no, actually, you may be right. I mean, it's interesting seeing the different character dynamics that they're going with on this one, because Lonnie was the name, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
Don't look it up.
Okay. I don't remember.
Don't look it up.
But it's so interesting seeing how much different of a background of where he's coming from compared to Peter. I'm assuming that's going to play later on more into it, because
you get a little snippet of him after school going home.
Correct. And again, I don't remember who he is, but I believe he becomes a villain.
For the sake of spoilers, will not answer.
I know, and I respect that. No, there really isn't much wrong with this episode, in my opinion.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. We get to see they do a really good job of balance of Peter, and because we get a lot of time of
You're
Peter.
You're thinking about it now, right? It's good.
There's a lot of time of Peter, but the little bit of time of Spider-Man is really good. Spider-Man,
really good Spider-Man. No, this show is okay. So my lead up to this show, we had initially heard about it like 2 years ago. It fell off the radar. At D23 last year, me and Jordan saw a little clip, actually a big clip. They showed us like 5 minutes of footage of a fight scene from later on in the season. And it might be the next episode actually. And then they talked about it a lot, and like from everything I was hearing, it was pretty good, but I was still skeptical about it because the art style was wonky.
Yeah.
Which I'll get into that after this. But so for the past month, I've been excited but hesitant but very hopeful. I bought this shirt out of fear that if I missed it and the show was good, I was never going to be able to get the shirt. And I'm so glad I did now. But the art style, I think it's a lot like Spider-Verse, which you wouldn't know yet.
I wouldn't know yet.
In the sense that, yes, the art style is weird and different and kind of hurts your eyes a little bit. But when you watch more than 10 minutes at a time, you get used to it. You don't even notice that it's wonk anymore.
I wouldn't.
In my opinion, the Spider-Man scenes
are better.
It's specifically the Peter Parker scenes where you have unmasked characters, and like the shape of the heads.
Because to me, Peter's design overall is very well done. Even no matter whichever Spider-Man or Peter Parker, the design of it's very well done. He looks very good. The shading is very sharp. It looks very good.
Yeah.
However, like episode 1. The first time we see him running down the street, he passes by a white dude. I'm just gonna call it straightforward he's a white dude. No name because he's just a side character. There's not a need to name every character. He looks like a ghost because of the way the shading is. Because they did not do any shadows or anything under.
That is a criticism.
Just has a quick little line, and so you're like, oh, you are legitimately just a white ghost standing here in the corner.
That is a criticism I saw online when they released a clip earlier this week, that background characters are like so low detailed and unmoving.
Well, he's not even necessarily a background character. Like we have the scene set up. He's coming straight down the street. He's one of the characters right there next to Peter Parker.
Is he animated?
No, he's just there.
That's what I'm talking about. Like that is a valid criticism that I see. I was like, of the show.
Did I really just see an unrendered section of this? Like, because it's so off-putting.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking the frame, okay, and we got something in the main forepart of the frame that we're focused on, that should have life. I wouldn't be as concerned and as bothered if, let's say, he was across the street and down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because frankly enough, my eyes shouldn't be pulled to that corner. They should be pulled to the action. The fact that he is pretty much a still figure who looks like a ghost, who's clearly just a person existing in the main action part of the frame, it's off-putting. It doesn't flow right.
No, yeah, I think that's valid.
And there are in episode 2 some scenes of it, but there are a lot less scenes with extra characters. So it's hard for me to pull an example from there because there aren't as many to pull from.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Osborn knowing who Spider-Man is from the get-go, I'm not sure I like that idea.
A lot of people weren't.
We'll see how that goes, because to me it's so much better when the Goblin doesn't know and he spends so much of his going into a like manic episode when he's going into crazy Goblin mode of him spending time trying to figure out who the Spider is and him just knowing from the get-go. I don't know.
We'll see how it plays out.
We'll see how it plays out.
We'll see how it plays out.
I'm skeptical of that one.
Understandable.
No, I mean, overall good. Episode 1 out of 5.
Out of 5, I'd give it a 4.
I was at a 3.5, so that checks out. So
yeah.
let me mark our tallies. Episode 2, unbiased episode 2.
I'm gonna go with a 5. I'm gonna go with a 5.
Okay. Unbiased, I'm at about a 4. It's a very solid and it's really a very good episode. And it's a good establishment episode still for building the universe. But it's not perfect yet, which is fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. We're only on episode 2.
I didn't say golden banana. It's 5 regular bananas.
So, I mean, let's see. Out of 10, that's an average of 8.25.
Debuted this morning with 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What is it right now?
When I checked later on, it was at 100 still. The audience went down a little bit.
Rotten Tomatoes.
There's more ones out.
Friendly. Go for it.
Your Friendly Neighborhood. Thank you. What do you think of the opening?
It's an okay tune. I'm not exactly crazy about, like, it feels like they understand, people understand the
60s.
The 60s
70s. I don't remember.
But I think it was 70s aspect of it. I just repeated the first like 3 lines of that phrase over and over again, or but 3 words. And it kept feeling like it never went anywhere in that aspect of the music. And so that kind of bugged me as more of a music person and all that. The animation of it's really, the animation of the intro seems higher done than the show, which is odd.
But it changes.
It does change.
Like in the first episode they hide Norman Osborn, and then in the second one Norman Osborn's in the middle, and then your title cards are like comic pages. What's cool about the title cards, I thought it was just something for the first one, but they're doing it for all of them apparently, is they're replicating a...
So 96 and 70.
All right. Okay.
Keep going. I'm looking at it.
They're replicating comic covers. So like the first one is obviously is Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
The second one was from an amazing comic from the 90s, I think. Look up Your Friendly Neighborhood title card, I think, is what will pull that up.
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay. I'll show you later, because I can probably find it on my Twitter.
The 42 Marvel Easter eggs.
What?
Who would have guessed? First look, opening titles, You're Friendly, that's on Reddit.
I like Spider-Man.
No.
I really like Spider-Man.
It doesn't matter. No, so overall, what did I say we were at? 8.25 out of 10? That's solid. That is a solid start. Agatha wasn't as high.
No.
And Agatha does not compete against this show, in my opinion.
No.
The show is so much better done.
Oh, yeah. If we were like reviewing back when X-Men came out, I think that would be a good comparison.
I'm curious though. Budget? Do we know what the budget is?
Not. I don't know.
Good Spidey. That's Far From Home, MCU. It looks like nobody has at least figured it out yet.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it just came out, but
yeah,
it based on the way the art style is and the animation of it, it seems like it's being done awfully cheap, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like it's being done cheap enough that even if it doesn't get a ton of viewers, which is probably why it's already been greenlit for, 2 more seasons.
Yeah.
That they can actually afford to do that.
I would assume so, yeah.
So
also their secondary character voice casting is like insane.
They've got some pretty good sides.
They got Kellen Goff, who did Freddy for the symbiote. Amadeus Cho was who was it? I don't remember. I think it was Roger Craig Smith, who does Sonic for the games.
Cast and crew, Seymour. So Hudson Thomas.
That's the guy that does
Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Eugene Bird does Lonnie.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
Eugene Bird. He did Go Away. He was a voice actor on Superman, Man of Tomorrow. He was in 8 Miles. I don't recognize most of these.
Okay.
So he's kind of just...
It's more so like the like side characters that I'm talking about.
Grace Song does Nico.
Yeah. Which she isn't in a lot either.
A
lot of our
Rotten Tomatoes is empty. So
yeah, a lot of our main cast is like new people, which I'm okay with.
Apparently, Hugh Dancy does Octo Octavius.
Okay, stop looking at Rotten Tomatoes, please, because I didn't know we were getting Doc Ock.
Apparently, we are. Yeah, then there's not even much listed here on that side of it anyway. So overall, good show.
Yeah.
I know others are going to talk about it. I'm curious. I'll listen to other podcasts and reactions to it. I'm curious where everybody else is going to come in at. I'm kind of looking forward to next week.
I'm really looking forward to next week. We're getting 3 episodes next week.
Yeah. It'll spread this out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But overall, it's been real. It's been fun, which means we're using an old outro. Till later. Bye.
Bye. Bam.